All right, today we're going to do something that's literally impossible. We're going on a journey deep, deep inside our own planet, right to the center of the Earth. We're going to peel back the layers, one by one, to really get what's going on right under our feet.
So that brings up a pretty big question, right? If we can't actually go there, the deepest hole humanity has ever drilled barely even scratches the surface, then how in the world do we know what's inside? How have we mapped out the entire interior of our planet?
Well, the answer is pretty cool. Scientists basically have to act like planetary detectives. They use a bunch of indirect clues. A huge one is studying seismic waves from earthquakes. They track how these powerful shock waves bend, bounce, and change speed as they travel through the planet. It's kind of like giving the Earth a giant ultrasound. They also look at stuff that spews out of volcanoes, they examine meteorites, which are like leftovers from when our solar system was born, and they measure the heat radiating from deep inside. You put all those clues together, and suddenly you've got a surprisingly detailed picture.
Okay, so let's start our journey. We begin right here, on the layer we all know and, well, live on, the Earth's crust. This is the solid, rocky ground that makes up our world.
Now, when you look at a diagram like this, the thing that should just jump out at you is how incredibly thin the crust is. There's this famous analogy: if the Earth were an apple, the crust would be thinner than the apple's skin. It's this incredibly delicate shell floating on a massive, hot interior.
Get this, it's only 1% of the Earth's total mass. Just 1%. That's almost nothing. And yet, think about what's packed into that fragile little layer. All of Earth's continents, all of its oceans, and all known life in the entire universe. It really does put things into perspective.
And this crust isn't all the same stuff. It actually has two totally different personalities. You've got the continental crust, called Sile, and the oceanic crust, called Sima. And those names are actually a little cheat sheet. Sile for silica and aluminum, and Sima for silica and magnesium. Now here's why that matters. The Sile is lighter, it's less dense. The Sima is heavier and denser. And that simple difference in density is why the lighter continents float higher, while the heavier oceanic crust sinks down to form the basins that our oceans fill.
So, as we travel deeper, we hit our first major checkpoint. And it's a real mouthful, you ready? The Moho-Rivashik discontinuity. Yeah, don't worry, everyone just calls it the Moho for short. This is the official boundary, the line where we leave the crust behind and enter the next great layer of the Earth.
All right, we've crossed the Moho, and now we are in a whole new world. This is the mantle. Forget that thin little crust we were just on. This is the real bulk of our planet. We're talking a vast region of superheated rock that stretches down for thousands of kilometers.
Just look at the scale here. The mantle absolutely dwarfs the crust we just left behind. We have officially entered the deep Earth. And here's the number that really drives it home. 84%. 84% of our planet's entire volume is right here in this one layer. This thing is an immense engine of heat and rock, and it's what drives everything from volcanoes to the movement of the continents on the surface.
Now, the mantle itself has its own sublayers. You've got the upper and lower mantle, and they're mostly solid because of all that intense pressure. But kind of sandwiched in that upper section is this very special, very weird zone called the asthenosphere. It's not quite liquid, but it's not fully solid either. The best way to picture it is like a partially molten, super hot, taffy-like layer. And that's the gooey layer that the rigid plates of the crust are actually floating and sliding around on. After traveling down for nearly 3,000 kilometers through the mantle, we hit our next big boundary, the Gutenberg discontinuity. This is a point where those earthquake waves we talked about, they suddenly change their behavior in a huge way. And that tells scientists one thing: we're about to enter a completely different world. We've reached the core.
This is it. This is the final destination of our journey. We've reached the most mysterious, the most extreme, and the most absolutely inaccessible part of our entire world, the Earth's core. We are now at the very center of our planet. This is a world of temperatures and pressures that are almost impossible to imagine. A sphere of pure metal that acts as our planet's engine. So, the crucial thing to know here is that the core isn't just one solid ball. It's actually made of two parts. The outer core is a churning ocean of liquid iron and nickel, and all of its constant movement is what generates Earth's massive magnetic field, the very shield that protects our entire planet from harmful solar radiation. Then, at the very center of it all, is the inner core, a sphere of solid iron and nickel. Geologists sometimes call it knife.
And the temperatures here? They're just staggering. We're talking about 6,000 degrees Celsius. To put that into perspective for you, that is as hot as the surface of the sun. But this incredible heat actually brings up a really interesting puzzle.
So think about it for a second. The inner core is even hotter than the liquid outer core. So shouldn't it be liquid too? Why is it a solid ball of metal? It seems like it should be melted.
Well, the answer is one of the most powerful forces in the universe, pressure. The weight of the entire planet, all the rock from the mantle and the crust, is pressing down, squeezing that inner core. And this immense pressure is so great that it actually forces the iron and nickel atoms to lock together into a solid crystal, overcoming that intense heat that would otherwise melt them. So, let's pull all the way back now and retrace our steps, and just recap this incredible journey from the blistering center of our world all the way back up to the surface we call home.
Okay, so our journey started deep within that solid, high-pressure inner core. Then we moved out through the liquid outer core, the source of our all-important magnetic field. From there, we traveled up through the vast rocky mantle, which makes up most of our planet's volume. And finally, we arrive back home on the thin, life-sustaining crust.
At its heart, it's a really simple but profound idea. Our world isn't just one uniform ball of rock. It's a dynamic, layered system, kind of like a cosmic onion, with each layer having its own distinct properties and its own crucial purpose.
You know, through all this clever detective work, we've pieced together this amazing picture of our planet's interior. But it really does leave you wondering, as much as we've uncovered, what other incredible secrets and powerful forces are still churning away, hidden deep beneath our feet.